Hello, dear students. A very good morning to all, and welcome you back in the class English Literature BA Part 2. And we are talking about the first paper, that is talking about drama and poems. So today we will discuss James Thomson's poem Autumn. I told you that James Thomson is a pre-romantic writer. Pre-romantic writers are those who discarded the new classical trends that were prevalent during the Augustan era. People were tired of the city life, the manners, the mannerism that were projected in that new classical writing. They wanted some kind of freshness in the poem. So, the pre-romantic writers talked about the new trends in writing. They reflected the natural sentiments, the human sentiments, in a very simple language. The main aspects of the pre-romantic writings were the love for nature, the love for human sentiments, human emotions, rustic life, the simple poetic diction that was there. In a very simple language, they reflected their sentiments. And these sentiments were not related to the city life. They talked about the village life. So they became very famous. If we talk about James Thomson, he has composed various poems and dramas, but his main reputation rests on his collection of poems, Seasons. In this collection, he talks about the 4 seasons: winter, autumn, spring, and summer. This is a really very long poem, and the individual poems, whether it is the winter or autumn, they are too long. But only the small portions of these poems are prescribed in your syllabus. If we talk about the present poem Autumn, this poem is divided into 2 parts: autumn during the evening and autumn at night. So the current extract that is prescribed in your syllabus is depicting the autumn season during the evenings. As we all know that during the autumn season, the nature is somehow changed, the open nature. Because during the autumn season, the days become short. The length of the days that used to be there during the rainy season, or we can say the summer season, that is shortened. And the humidity is there in the atmosphere. And the trees also shed their leaves to a greater extent. So this beauty of the autumn evening is well projected by the writer James Thomson. So let us talk about the poem. He writes, "The western sun withdraws the shortened day, and humid evening gliding over the sky. In her chill progress to the ground condensed, the vapors throws, their creeping waters ooze, where marshes stagnate, and where rivers wind, cluster the rolling fogs, and swim along the dusky mantled lawn." So, we all know that the sun sets in the west. So he says, the western sun withdraws the shortened day. The sun, which is moving towards the western horizon, it marks the end of the day. the length of the day has been shortened because the movement of the sun becomes faster, we can say, during the autumn season. The western sun withdraws the shortened day. The sun that is setting towards the west, that is setting in the west direction. It marks the end of the day. The days had been shortened. The days have been shortened during the autumn season. And humid evening. And during the evenings, the humidity is there in the atmosphere, gliding over the sky in a chill progress. The clouds of vapors that are formed during the daytime, they are spread all over the sky, gliding. They are appearing. They are, they are present everywhere in the sky, gliding over the sky. They are moving in the sky in a chill progress. And this makes the atmosphere to some extent chill. It brings cold. To the ground condensed the vapors through. The vapors which are formed during the daytime, they are covering the entire sky. They are moving towards the sky. To the ground condensed. Condensed means together at a place. So the condensed, the great vapors that are formed during the daytime, they are moving towards the sky, where creeping waters ooze, and it appears as if the water is falling down from those clouds of vapors. Where creeping waters ooze, the water ooze out from those clouds. Where marshes stagnate. The marshes, the mud which is watery, we can say, the kind of marsh that is created, that stagnate, that is accumulated at a particular place, and the smell is coming out of that. Where marshes stagnate, and where rivers wind cluster the rolling fogs. The land becomes marshy wherever the river is there and the river water is accumulated at a particular place. Because in the water bodies, what happens is that the water that used to be there in the water bodies, that is forming a particular kind of vapor that is evaporated. So small water is left in those water bodies, and that is stagnant, that is not flowing continuously. It becomes static, and a particular kind of smell comes out of that water. And where rivers wind cluster the rolling fogs. Cluster the rolling fogs. Cluster means again the accumulation, right? Cluster the rolling fogs. Fogs that are created out of those vapors. They move in the sky and they form certain clusters, heaps, we can say, of the clouds. They are accumulated at a particular place. They are gathered at a place and they start rolling and swim along the dusky mantled lawn. Sorry. Dusky mantled, it is appearing as if the entire atmosphere has borne a cloak of dusk. Dusk means the evening time, we can say, when nothing is seen very clearly. The darkness is spread, right? So it marks the end of the day. So let me paraphrase this. Here in these lines, the writer is saying that during the evenings in the autumn season, the sun withdraws towards the western horizon. The days are shortened. In the evening, humidity is enhanced. It is increased. And the accumulated vapors, the condensed vapors slowly gather over the ground. They are scattered all around. It becomes foggy everywhere. The fogs are created out of it. Fog is what? When the evaporation of water takes place and the vapors are formed, they are mixed with the clouds. So that creates fog. And whenever the fog is there, nothing is seen clearly. Visibility becomes smaller, right? Rolling fogs move along the grass and are getting darker. And the land also becomes marshy near the water bodies, winding river. Here the writer says. The evening fog rolls on, it moves around and covers the whole space. The clouds are scattered in the sky, right? So let us come to the next part. Meanwhile, the moon, full-orbed and breaking through the scattered clouds, shows her broad visage in the crimsoned east, turned to the sun direct, her spotted disk, where mountains rise, umbrageous dales descend, and caverns deep as optic tube describes. A smaller earth gives all his blaze again, void of its flame, and sheds a softer day. Meanwhile, when all this process is going on, when the darkness is prevailing all around, when the fogs are formed, in between what happens? Meanwhile, the moon, full orbed and breaking through the scattered clouds. As we all know that as soon as the sun sets, what happens? The moon rises. Meanwhile, the moon, full orbed, means in the full glory, we can say. The full moon appears. Meanwhile, the moon, full orbed and breaking through the scattered clouds. The clouds which are scattered all around in the sky. Moon is coming out of those clouds. It is breaking through these clouds. The moon appears in the east out of the clouds in its full glory. It is very bright, we can say. So, meanwhile, the moon, full orbed and breaking through the scattered clouds, shows her broad visage in the crimsoned east direction, which is made crimson colored with the arrival of the moon. The color of the sky has been changed. Shows her broad visage. Visage means the face. So face of the moon is what? The moon is appearing in the sky, in the east, which has been reddened with the presence of the moon. So the moon appears in the east direction. And with the very appearance of the moon, the sky becomes red. Through the scattered clouds, shows her broad visage in the crimsoned east, turned to the sun direct, her spotted disk. Spotted because we see that in the orbit of the moon, in the moon, there are so many spots. If we see them with the help of a telescope, we can see there that there are so many spots on the moon. So, in the dark sky, the moon rises in the east, surrounded by scattered clouds. The spotted round face of the moon looks like the sun, devoid of its flame. Because what is the difference between the sun and the moon is that both appear as if they are the red. They are creating the red or crimson kind of color. And the main difference is that the sun rays are there, but as such, if we talk about the moon, there are no rays, right? So it is appearing as if the moon is devoid of the flames of the sun, the burning flames, the rage of the sun, and it is just like the another sun which is having no rage in it. Turned to the sun direct, her spotted disk, where mountains rise, umbrageous tails descend, and caverns deep as optic tube describes. A smaller earth gives olive blaze again, void of its flame, and sheds a softer day. It looks like a small earth where mountains rise, where there are mountains, umbrageous tails descend. Umbrageous tails, the valleys which are having shadings, we can say the shady valleys, right? So on the surface of the moon, the various pictures can be seen. Sometimes it appears as if there are so many mountains. Sometimes it appears as if there are valleys which are shaded by the forest, we can say. Umbrageous tails descend, and caverns deep. Caverns, caves, there are deep caves as well, right? As optic tube describes. Optic tube, when we perceive the beauty of the moon with the help of a telescope. Optic tube here refers to the telescope, right? So when we perceive the beauty of this moon with the help of a telescope, we can see so many images on the surface of the moon. Sometimes it appears to be as if there are mountains which are high. Sometimes it appears that there are valleys which have been shaded with the forest. And sometimes it appears as if there are so many caves which are deep, as optic tube describes. Optic tube telescope describes, perceives or discovers, we can say. A smaller earth gives olive village again. It appears as if it is the small form of the earth itself. Gives olive blaze again. It is appearing in all its paraphernalia again, void of its flame, and sheds a softer day. And when the moon appears, it is not having the flames, the rage as the sun is having. So this is the another sun which is having no flames and sheds a softer day. And when the rays of the sun are there, what happens? The days become very hard because we cannot tolerate the direct sun rays during the autumn season, right? They are very sharp due to the presence of the vapor. But during the evenings, it becomes chill because the moon is not exerting any kind of flames or the rage. So let me paraphrase it for you. The writer says, during the evenings, the clouds are scattered in the sky. The moon appears in the east out of the clouds in its full glory. In the sky, which has been darkened due to the absence of the sun, the moon rises in the east, surrounded by scattered clouds. And as soon as the moon rises, the color of the sky has been changed. It becomes crimson red. The spotted round face of the moon looks like the sun, devoid of its burning flames. It looks like a small earth with high mountains, shady valleys, and deep oceans or the caves. And all these things can be perceived with the help of a telescope. The moon looks like a small earth. When the moon emerges from the clouds in a full circular growth, it throws light all over the earth. But it is free from the scorching heat of the day because it does not have any rage or any flames as the sun has. Right? So this is enough for today, and tomorrow we will talk about the remaining part of this poem. And I hope you have understood this poem, and even after that, if you have any problem, we will discuss it again. Right? You can ask me through WhatsApp or phone. Thank you all.